if we start right back at the start, I joined Newcastle as an 8-year-old and then signed professional just after my last GCSE. In the period before that, I also played a lot of cricket. And so the year before I signed pro at Newcastle, I played for England in a World Cup. It was actually hosted in England with some like great teammates like Alistair Cook, Tim Bresnan, but then obviously football took over. So I signed 3 years at Newcastle. I exited after just over 2 years and joined Nottingham Forest on a 4-year contract. Professional sport is like no other industry, so there was a lot of, on reflection, a lot of learnings, a lot of great times, a lot of downs. You know, you build a lot of resilience through, I suppose, failures and not meeting your goals. But I did, again, on reflection, I had a brilliant experience. During my time at Nottingham Forest, I did the PFA degree in sports media and journalism. So upon graduating, I'd left Nottingham Forest. It was like a 6 months kind of overlap, gained a first. So I kind of had other options and other interests alongside football with cricket, and then eventually into sports business. Around the age of 13, I signed a boot deal with Umbro when Umbro were a desirable brand, you know, competing with Nike and Adidas. And Nike Inc. were buying Umbro International for around £400 million. And I was approached by some of the directors to see if I was interested in taking up a role in sports marketing, something that I didn't really know what it entailed, but when they explained to me, I thought, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So exited like the professional athlete kind of phase of my career, which I was ready for. I was kind of 23 at this age, so I'd done it almost 15 years when you think back to being 8 when I first went into that environment. John Carver was the first coach I had at Newcastle, and he was outstanding, so he kind of set the bar. So during that like 15 years, I'd experienced a lot of different styles of coaching, of leadership, of leaders, good, bad, some that worked for me, some that didn't. But it was like massive education and learning, especially in the position I'm in now, reflecting back on it. So I joined Nike Inc. to work for Umbro International, and I had 5 years there, and it was probably one of the best periods of time in my professional career. So, some incredible people and ideas, and like a really amazing philosophy and environment to work in. It was like sponsorship and sports marketing of elite players and clubs and federations around the world. So I managed the Manchester City account, and the Sheikhs took over during Premier League success under Mancini. Signed some really good players that were great business return, like Phil Foden, Jordan Henderson, Andy Carroll. Worked on great projects like the Right to Dream project, which, if you look it up, you know, it's really an amazing achievement that the owners had. Managed the FA account during Euro 2012. Then the Nike Inc. Business sold Umbro International to the Iconics brand group, which is a licensing business out of New York. I believe the Glazers are part of the ownership group. So I had two and a half years there in global sports marketing, working with, you know, various licensee businesses, clubs and teams and assets. But I kind of reached a ceiling in sports marketing. I'd had my fill of it, so I joined Aston Villa in scouting and recruitment, national and international, and I spent 5 years at Aston Villa there. Again, crazy, brilliant experience all rolled into one. Bit of a washing machine. We got relegated. We had a playoff defeat. The year I left, we got promoted. We had 2 change of ownerships, 4 or 5 managers, 3 sporting directors, 3 chief executives. But a fantastic experience, travelling all around the world. Some great highlights and achievements in there, alongside the team that I worked with. On leaving Aston Villa, I was kind of looking for something not directly back in scouting and recruitment. I kind of been saturated in my mind, so I wanted something fresh, and I'd always been contacted a lot by sport and entertainment companies which were a real big part of the football industry, well, the sports business industry. It wasn't an industry that I really wanted to go into, but I thought I'd give it a go. So I joined General Sports Worldwide, which was a bit of an emerging company, but had some people in it that I knew and had good track record. So there was a lot of difficulties navigating that in terms of gaining success because of the competition around. So I had a bit of a bumpy time. I enjoyed elements of it, didn't enjoy elements of it, a bit like everything. Through that, I was approached by two guys who were working in sports finance. And as I explained to you earlier, I'd always had like a real interest in the finance element of sports business because I'd been surrounded by it, both personally and in various roles in sports marketing. So I joined SportsFi, which was a start-up sports finance company. So first as a consultant and then full-time, met some brilliant people. The idea was really incredible. Financial markets and interest rates put an end to that prematurely, but I continued to do it as a consultant. And then kind of as I'm spending some time as a consultant, I'm thinking of other ideas. I'd kind of done the sports marketing, sports finance, sports recruitment, and now sports finance. So I wanted to have a new experience but utilise all my skills and experiences that I'd had. And I was approached by an international business school to lecture in sports business finance. I had two young boys, so I didn't want to relocate or work from London like I had done previously. But I like the idea of the international business school, but not in London, which was where it was based. So I took a role at the University of Teesside, mainly in the international business school, and that's where I've been for the last 12 months. Alongside this, I've been doing some keynote speaking and business seminars for professional sports athletes and various other like business ideas. So that's where I'm at. It was all very normal. You know, I'd come out of school as a 14, 15-year-old, and I'd be doing keep ball with Duncan Ferguson and Alan Shearer and players like that, and didn't really think much of it. But you know, we had some incredible experiences. You know, we used to do pattern and shape before Premier League games. Like I said, the team that I played in, which was the highlight of my time at Newcastle, won the Youth Premier League. But equally, Newcastle's first team at the time were in and around the Champions League. And a midfield of Bellamy, Dyer. You've never quite seen speed like it. You know, they'd be gone in a flash, and then, you know, someone like Shearer holding the ball up, your forearm gets smashed across your face, and you're thinking, yeah, I'm not sure I'm winning that one. But like some super talented people. And then equally, you know, joined in Nottingham Forest, it was a totally different environment. Went from, you know, future thinking people like Paul Hart to like people who were old school, whether that was right or wrong, you know, that someone else to decide, but it didn't quite work for me. But like their philosophies and styles were like, on reflection, like very interesting, you know, great stories. I think some of them are shared in the Under the Cosh podcasts, like pre-seasons in America, with some like really interesting characters like Alan Rodgers, who was, you know, looking back on it now, was absolutely hilarious. But you know, when you're trying to make your way into the first team, it wasn't quite so helpful. But yeah, all in all, like incredible experiences. I explained to you, you know, getting pulled into the office with Colin Calderwood, thinking you've probably got a chance of playing in the FA Cup, and being given your notice in effect, wandering along the Trent thinking, what on earth am I going to do with my life? You almost have to sit and pause and like have your support network around you to go, actually, I've got quite a good CV so far. I've been a professional footballer, 2 massive monster clubs. I've got international honours in cricket. I've graduated with a first in sports media and journalism. The world isn't about to end. So I was took some time to kind of get my head around that, but equally I was ready for something new. Football, as a professional footballer, hadn't worked out how I'd envisaged. I hadn't reached the successes that I'd set myself from a very young age, but I was determined to have success, whatever that looked like. And when I joined Nike Inc. to work for Umbro International, I think it was the people that were really significant. There were leaders that were a totally different breed of people to the leaders that I'd been used to in football. It was an environment that was a lot warmer, that I knew that I'd enjoy my time there, which was a big element of it, because if you surveyed a lot of professional footballers, the enjoyment aspect of it is quite a small part of it. There's a lot of times where it's not easy. So once I remember my first day walking through the door at Umbro International, and you had that feeling going, yeah, this is going to be great, and it was. So I found that transition quite, I wouldn't say quite easy, but quite enjoyable. However, when the work started, and I remember visiting a club to discuss boot deals, commercial sponsorship deals with players who I'd grown up playing with, and I just wanted the ground to swallow me up. It was like almost a rubber stamp of you failed. But once you get over that, I was like, actually, I'm in a great position here. The sports marketing team at Umbro achieved successes that'll never be repeated. When you look at the sports brand environment as it is now, with our budget and compared to the competitors, we had a really incredible team. Like I mentioned, some of the players and the teams that we worked with and signed, that's not achievable in today's market. Martin Prothero, Simon Marsh, Paolo Arugio, they were 20, 30 years older than me, but the people, just like managers in the sporting environment, like I touched on Alan Irvine, where you'd run through a brick wall for them, these people made the environment exactly the same, where you were totally committed to the cause, but not because you wanted to earn more money, but because of the people that were leading those businesses. And that's why I find it fascinating now in a university setting, the delivery of leadership degrees and MBAs, how sports leadership should be so much more utilised in the business world, and a lot could be learnt from it. Because I've definitely learned so much of it, of all the leaders. I think I said to you there, during 7 years as a professional, I had maybe 8-9 managers, which is a lot for a young person in a short period of time. So to answer your question, yeah, that sports marketing team for Umbro International at the time was top draw.